We will now move on to an address by Dr. Fahad Alturki, KAPSARC's Vice President for Research and the Chair of T20 Saudi Arabia.
Thanks, Saleh. Your Royal Highnesses, Your Excellency, distinguished guests and friends, I'm delighted to welcome you today to our T20 web conference. I'd like to also thank you for attending. I had hoped to welcome you in person in Saudi Arabia, but unfortunately COVID-19 had other plans. As we speak, there have been close to 8 million COVID-19 cases globally and 500,000 deaths caused by the virus. This unprecedented global crisis has led to shutdown of entire sectors of the global economy. Drastic falls in energy demand and fuel prices, as His Excellency Minister of Energy mentioned, and massive job losses and economic recessions around the globe. The COVID-19 pandemic, like other crises of a global nature, require effective multilateral response. Effective multilateral cooperation will help address global challenges, rethink difficult issues, resolve conflict, and rectify environment neglect, and restore faith in humanity while upholding global values. The G20 is a premier international forum for international cooperation, and Saudi Arabia has used its G20 presidency to further issues critical to the global prosperity. The G20 Saudi agenda includes the following objectives: empowering people, creating conditions in which people, especially women and youth, can live, work, and thrive. Safeguarding the planet, fostering collective efforts to protect the global commons. Shaping a new frontier, adopting long-term and bold strategy to utilize and share the benefit of innovation. Saudi Arabia is not only a key player in this region, with a quarter of the world's proven oil reserves, it also plays an important role in stabilizing global economy. Its blueprint for economic diversification, the Saudi Vision 2030, closely aligns with the core T20 objectives of promoting macroeconomic stability, sustainable development, empowerment of women, enhanced human capital, and increased trade and investment flows across countries. The G20 has a strong tradition of working with a broad range of organizations to bring different perspectives on financial and socio-economic challenges to the table. The engagement groups, which the T20 is one of them, are independent collectives led by organizations from the host country. We work with other organizations from other G20 and non-G20 countries to develop policy recommendations, which are then formally submitted to the G20 leaders for their considerations. The G20 engagement groups offer a bottom-up approach to global governance through civil society initiatives. Through our vision at the T20 Saudi Arabia, striving for a future of prosperity, sustainability, and inclusion, we aim to support G20 policymakers, inform the public on policy options that the G20 could and should use to address global challenges, and facilitate policy advocacy through profoundly concrete and implementable policy recommendations. The T20 brings global policy thinkers together to help the world leaders address global problems. Over 150 policy briefs are currently being drafted under our 11 task forces by over 700 authors from more than 75 countries. These policy briefs come under 5 main themes of the T20 Saudi Arabia. These themes are climate and environment. We're developing the idea of a circular carbon economy to support climate action is a priority. Women and youth, where thoughts on policy options related to empowering women and fostering more inclusive society for youth are being discussed. Multilateralism, economic development, and finance, promoting prosperity through international cooperation, economic development and financial sustainability and stability. Sustainable resources, where leaders of think tanks provide policy options for securing, sustaining, and enhancing the global supply and availability of energy, food, and water. Last but not least, leveraging technology and digitalization to help address global issues. As we have made progress through the year on these important themes, the COVID-19 pandemic has added further challenges and responsibilities for the T20 community. While the global spread of the virus has overwhelmed the healthcare systems and caused widespread of social and socio-economic disruptions, it also highlights the pressing need of global solidarity, cooperation, and collaboration. The G20 countries should continue to lead the effort to enhance pandemic risk management and to agree on coordinated actions to improve core emergency response capacity. As we heard from His Excellency, the Minister of Health, the Saudi response to the pandemic was carefully and effectively managed, safeguarding its population and economy from the pandemic. The government was quick to implement lockdown measures, including closing down the country's holy cities, all of which to protect people's lives. On the economic side, Saudi Arabia has pledged over 120 billion Saudi riyal on implementing urgent measures to mitigate the impact of COVID-19 on its economy and its private sector. At the G20 level, the response has included convening the extraordinary G20 summit back in March to help facilitate a global response to the COVID-19 pandemic. Saudi Arabia welcomed the summit call to action to fund a universally available and affordable COVID-19 diagnostic test, treatment, and vaccination. G20 countries have pledged over 21 billion US dollars to close the immediate financing gap in the fight against COVID-19. Saudi Arabia have pledged $500 million to support the fundraising effort. Since the COVID-19 outbreak started, the T20 has played a key role in the policymaking process, calling on the G20 leaders to take actions to fight the pandemic, support research into the development of COVID-19 vaccination, promote business digitalization, and give financial support to the most vulnerable sections of the economy and society. Our response to the pandemic also includes adding a standalone task force on COVID-19, multidisciplinary approach to complex problems, as well as holding 12 webinars on the impact of COVID-19. These webinars focused on measures that could address the challenges presented by COVID-19 within the context of the task force's original mandate. Such measures will form part of the key policy recommendations that will be submitted to the G20 leaders as part of the T20 communique and during working group meetings. Now, as the world wonders what the way forward is, one day, hopefully sooner rather than later, COVID-19 will have passed and the pandemic will have abated, leaving a world in need of multilateral solutions more than ever before. An important question arises. Can the G20 help salvage multilateralism? The T20 has the chance to call on the G20 leaders to use their collective political influence to help build back better. This could be achieved through green COVID-19 economic stimulus package that will first fight economic recession and help revive energy demand to restore balance and re-establish economic order. This will help countries to manage their resources more sustainably and ensure orderly energy transition. Stimulus priorities must not derail clean energy targets and net zero carbon ambitions. They should promote a wide range of climate change mitigation approaches, including the circular carbon economy as an essential bridge to low carbon future. Second, address pressing environmental challenges such as global biodiversity and climate change, to avoid vicious cycle that will ultimately impact all livelihood. The impact of climate change lead to adverse impact on biodiversity and weakening of ecosystems, creating the perfect conditions for pandemic to re-emerge. And third, ensure the sustainability and effectiveness of globalization, multilateralism, and modern diplomacy. It is time for leaders to step up, reunite, and strive for a future of prosperity, sustainability, and inclusion. As we move beyond the pandemic, the work we have done in helping to support the G20 stabilization effort will become ever more relevant to the future of this new world order. This is a critical year for the G20 and its engagement groups, and I hope the outcome of this G20 and T20 year will be a more prosperous, inclusive, and sustainable future for all of us. Thank you.